too much going on in the background.
All right, first off, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with the Hype Magazine tonight.
Oh, man, thank you guys, man, for having me, man. I appreciate y'all.
And to get started, can you tell the fans and listeners who you are and where you're from?
I'm Kian Taylor. I'm a film director out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Do you think being from Oklahoma has made it harder for you or easier for you to get into film and all the stuff you're doing right now?
I mean, just with anything, it has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
To me, I don't really feel like it's been, I mean, of course it has its challenges. As far as like rather saying if it's, easy or hard, I mean, that's subjective. I mean, I know people in LA, I mean, shoot, they still trying to break it in out there, or people in Atlanta or New York trying to break it in out there. So, I mean, I just try to make the best of what I got right where I'm at, and just, whoever's going to work with me is going to work with me. Whoever don't. And I'm going to keep working. So that's all that matters.
Yeah. I love that answer. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, so kind of in the same boat. A lot of people don't think that, there's opportunities here, but you create your own opportunity. So if you're out there working and grinding, you can create that path. So what made you get interested in film in the first place? Being from Oklahoma, what were some of the things that piqued your interest and got you interested to begin in the first place?
So what piqued my interest in film is pretty unorthodox. Before I actually officially got into filmmaking, I was in the Navy for 5 years. And so most of my job was taking photos and videos of surface-to-air contacts. And so that was my first introduction into picking up a camera. My second opportunity was during the time while I was in college, in about 2016, at a fashion company. I had an art show down in Texas that I had to create like a little presentation for. And so I went out in the streets, filmed with a few other subjects, my clothing brand, and I got to see my work on a giant Titantron. I was like, man, you know what? I'm actually pretty good at this. So let me see. Let me see how far I can take this.
That's interesting. I seen the story that you actually played baseball in high school and were very, very successful at it, and you decided to go into the Navy. So I salute you for doing that. What was it that made you make that decision? And like you said, you picked up a camera the first time in the Navy. So how much information did you actually gain from being in the Navy? A lot of people don't understand what the military brings, so maybe we can highlight some of the stuff you got from
it. For me, my particular career path, it's a interesting choice and job. I was a naval air crewman. You got to be able to swim. You got to be in shape. You got to, be on demand, on call. And so just being able to stay work ready, being able to have like a high work ethic, just being able to, whenever you got to go out there and make the play happen, or just like in sports or in baseball, I mean, it's black and white. I mean, it's either you get it done or you don't. And so a lot of those traits and that discipline and those characteristics transferred over to what I'm doing right now.
Does it help you keep control of the situation? When you're directing these high profile people we're going to get into in just a few minutes that you work with, and these A-type personalities, is it your military background, your structure, and the way you order things helps you keep control of the situation and deliver, the product? As the director, everything falls in your hands to get done right.
I wish I had that type of organization or control. So to be honest, no, because, for someone that's a filmmaker, as a creative, everything doesn't always go as planned. I mean, I'm sure everybody experiences that, from myself to guys like Spike Lee to like, it never goes as planned. But the beauty of it is like having the abilities to just adjust in the moment. And that's with anything in life, just, if it doesn't go as planned. I mean, you can look at it from a negative, half empty, half full, whatever what do they talk about in philosophy? And so it's totally up to the individual. And I mean, I just choose, just keep chugging along, man. Just keep making it happen.
Yeah, a lot of people think when you do film or when you do video and stuff like that, it's an easy process. But I know personally, you can be on the set for hours and hours on end, and you don't actually get to use any of that footage. So, what's been some of your experiences with learning how to get on a set, and what really goes into making these works of art you're creating? Like maybe something you didn't anticipate, but you've learned as you've done it.
That's a great question. One of the, I say right now at this point in time in my career in 2024, I can say that,
yeah,
you know, if you're happy with it, to me, that's all that matters. You know, if I look at it like, hey, this is a complete piece and I'm happy with that, then I'm okay with, you know, putting it out to the world. Because I mean, essentially for me, it's just art. Like as a creative, like everything that I do is a build up upon something that I've done in the past. But it also tells a story about me, you know, and that's, you know, with me as a creative, I look at myself as somebody like I'm just expressing myself through this medium called film, you know, things that, you know, pique my interest. And so I can never really say like, you know, is this a complete like a complete piece of masterpiece, because every project is, you know, perceived differently by the audience. And I think that's a cool thing about it, because I mean, it is art. You know, people could, you know, love it or hate it, but either way it goes, like for me, like I'm able to be in my essence as a creator and just expressing myself through this medium.
I love it. Now, when you come back from the Navy and you pick up the camera, what were some of your steps you made to, you know, get the opportunities, or who were some of your early mentors when you got into film? Because I'm sure you had to learn stuff and, you know, develop some of the tricks, you know, the tools of the trade, as we would say. So who were some of your mentors early on?
Oh man, some of my biggest mentors were YouTube University. So yeah, shout out to YouTube University. Just getting online and researching and, you know, seeing different tricks and methods that I would like to apply in my films. And so, and even in my content, because most of my work is content creation. And so I would just get on there and I would see, you know, certain effects or, you know, certain ways of being storytelling is being done. And I would just try to apply it to whatever work that I'm working on at that moment and just keep building on that.
Do you think it makes it easier for you to do social media, since that's a short form content, but you're coming from making movies, and so those are longer? Is it easier for you, think, because it's shorter?
So I'm actually the opposite of that. So I started out more so on the freelance side, and then I graduated into the filmmaking world. However, though, either or, they're both challenging, because I mean, it's storytelling. I mean, even with like the content creating that I'm doing, you know, you still got to know their audience, whoever it is you're creating the content for. For certain people, you're branding them, so you can't just put anything out there. You got to put, you know, you got to put a lot of thought and creativity into that. You got to think about, you know, how is your work, you know, how do you want to be perceived? There's a little bit more commercial, if that's even a word for it. There's a little bit more commercial and corporate thought process going into it versus like my own things. Like with my film, I have a little bit more creative control. And so it's like, sure, it's like, all right, like I can tell like, for example, the Black Cowboy story. I can make that however I want. If I want to do like a traditional Western, I could do that. Or I could just make it like, all right, we're showing you black cowboys on top of like hip hop beats and stuff like that. You know, like, there's not as much pressure.
Now, what piqued your interest to do the writing legacy? I mean, salute to you for honoring this you know, the Cowboys out there, the how talented they are. I seen the 8-man relay races. You know, that's got to be some scary stuff to see firsthand. But what piqued your interest in the first place and made you want to give your talents to, you know, tell their story?
So I'm from Oklahoma, Forest Park. I know I said Oklahoma City, but that's a town inside of Oklahoma City in the metro area. And so right outside of Forest Park is Spencer, Oklahoma. Spencer Forest Park is, you'll see a lot of, you know, individuals, black cowboys, cowgirls riding up and down the street on their horses. So some of the guys I even went to school with, I would see them ride horses. Like guys that I played sports against, like they'd be riding horses. But I never really got the opportunity to go to a rodeo like that until I got older. And so coming from a sports background, working with, you know, some, you know, high profile athletes, and then being from Oklahoma, is like, well, what's the parallel between the two? Like, I wonder if I can find that, if I can answer that question, because that was one of the biggest curiosities that I had going into this project was like, why are we not respecting them the same way as we respect like LeBron James, or if we're respecting, you know, some of our favorite athletes like Deion Sanders or, you know, King Griffey Jr., right? So it's like, let me go find who's that black cowboy that is that, you know, and we found him. We found him.
So you, when you went into this, you really didn't have any relationships or connections to the Black Cowboy culture. So they had to welcome you with open arms to this. How did it feel to know when you presented this idea to them, they were all for it? And it seemed like, from what I've seen, you got a lot of behind the scenes access and got to really meet the people. So how did that feel for you to know that it was received well the way it was?
So just as like the rest of the world, it was very uncommon to see Black cowboys and cowgirls, right? I mean, as of right now, as of today, we see it's getting a lot of public notoriety through, you know, Beyonce, through music, through branding and things like that. And so back in 2021, 2022, when we first started this project, I mean, there wasn't too many people showing up with cameras at Black Rodeo. Even one, just like, you know, highlight. So these individuals that have been doing this for, you know, I would say, you know, as early as the late 1800s, and then all the way up until, you know, really bringing it even full forth in like the 1960s. And so like these individuals have never been empowered to that level. They haven't been put in that stage or that spotlight before. And so just the simple fact that someone from Oklahoma in their backyard is doing that for them, I mean, they're going to get behind it. I mean, Oklahoma is not that big. And so, you know, we typically support our own, you know. I mean, when we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, I mean, we got full-fledged behind that. So, I mean, I didn't expect it to happen this fast. However, the amount of love and the amount of respect that I've been getting over the years and our team has been getting just for showing up, man, we greatly appreciate it. I mean, it's by far one of the greatest feelings is to know that we're helping them, even though we're filmmakers and we're documenting their story. Like, it's helping the community like full-fledged. Like, there's thousands of people that are coming from all over. Like, there was people from New York at this rodeo last weekend down in Boley Rodeo, came all the way out here from New York just to come to a rodeo in Oklahoma. Like, that is the most, like, when I heard that, I was like, dude, we're doing our job. You know, that's what it's about. Like, that's what real filmmaking is about. You know, I mean, there's people that will come out here and will exploit, you know, try to exploit the culture, but to be from here and then to know that, you know, if you've seen the film or not, or if you might have seen our clips, or you might have seen Oklahoma Cowboys that post on Instagram and that's doing a ton of social media content over the community. And if that just empowers you to just come and support and check out a rodeo, I mean, we're doing our job, man. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, salute to you. Like I did, like in Indianapolis, we have people that ride horses sometimes, you know, a few, but to see the video and they really talk about this is our culture. Like, being a Black cowboy is not something that just is what people are trying to do now, but that's bred in what they grew up in. And, you know, they have a great community out there. What was some of the cool things you've seen about the community of these people that support Black cowboys, and just overall an experience? You know, if you went to the rodeo for the first time, what are you expecting as a fan?
You know, I think the expectation of learning about the culture, understanding who the true cowboys are. I think that's been the journey that we had to flip, like, within the first 3 or 4 rodeos that we went to. Because I mean, just like, you know, outside looking in, oh, it's Black people with cowboy hats, cowboy boots, and riding horses, right? But when you dive in deeper, you get to learn, like, no, there's people that, like, this is their life. Like, this is what they do. Like, they are real ranchers. They're real cowboys. They're real cowboys. Like, they have family members that ride. That's, you know, that there's Black towns where, you know, these events that are there, that these aren't like sponsored events. Like, these are people that just love the sport and just want to keep it going and keep it moving. And so the thing is like, now is like letting people and letting the rest of the world know, like, these are real people, you know. And I think that's the approach that we all had to start taking, like, after we were just getting past the initial, hey, we're excited to be a part, like, excited to be here and doing videos over Black cowboys and Black cowgirls.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, I mentioned it before. I was watching some of the clips. This 8-man relay race that they're doing on these horses, man. Like, how dangerous is that in real life? And you know, what I mean, and what's it look like when they're coming around the corners, making these transitions on horses? Like, it's dangerous enough on people, but I think Black Cowboys, this organization, you know, you guys you're watching or you're documenting, they're one of the only ones to do that, right?
You know, that's interesting that you say that. I was just at a rodeo this past Saturday, and I was, you know, I caught myself just looking up for a second and like looking at how fast that these horses are moving. And a lot of these individuals, they're very skilled riders, man. Like these teams that are out there in the dirt, and more teams are getting out there. And so this past weekend, as I was watching and I was observing, like, I mean, like there was a point in time where it's like, man, these guys are like, these horses are stacked up. Like I'm talking about, they're coming around the corner like 30, 40 miles per hour stacked up. Like, and then you got one teammate over here and then a horse, like one horse and then another horse and like one trying to pass it over two people to hand off a baton on that 8-man relay, man. And it's competitive, man. It's by far probably the most attractive thing right now on dirt. And you know, our team, when we're out there filming, man, we're in boots too. We out there on the dirt, like we ain't up in the stands, like we right there in front, like right where all the action happens.
I was gonna say, so do you guys have to sign any kind of waivers when you're doing this filming? You are in dangerous positions where they've got you located at. So is that something you guys think about when you're filming, or just more worried about getting the content? And you know,
I mean, more so for me, I as a filmmaker, the thing that I've prided myself on the most since the day I've started is composition and just being able to put people in spaces that we normally can't go off into. And so if I'm able to do that, and if the best angle is right there on the dirt, then of course I'm going to take the risk. I mean, just a week ago, I almost got kicked by a horse. Just almost got kicked by a horse, but I was sitting on the fence when it happened. The whole
you were not even in a dangerous location, just so happened.
Not even in that. I mean, I've been in way worse situations, and in that moment, that was the time I actually almost got kicked, and I had to like fall back and everything to avoid getting kicked. Everybody said I was within inches, but I mean, that's the risk you take, you know, in this job, you know, as a camera op. You know, you want to get the best shot, and I mean, everybody wants that shot where it's like, how did he get that? And so, I mean, it kind of
amazing. I know that the news has been paying attention to you. Fox News 25, you guys got to go out, be on there and, you know, tell the story. How does it feel to be able to tell this story the way you are? And you are starting to get a lot of national attention, and other major outlets are starting to really follow what's going on with them because of your efforts and your team's efforts to tell what's the story.
It's cool, but there's a lot more work to be done. You know, that's just one step in the right direction in regards of what the overall goal is, which we want to make sure that, you know, our film is being seen by individuals that want to continue to help and support and grow this community. Because like I said, like these are actual people. Like they got to go feed horses, they got to go, you know, train, and they got to go out there and they got to go, you know, put on these rodeos and work these rodeos. And then also too, there are individuals right now that, you know, sure, they're at the black rodeos, but there are people trying to get to the highest level. And that's the part that, you know, a lot of like, that's what I'm ready to see. That's when that happens. Now, when news coverage starts covering that young black woman or black, you know, young black man that's going to come out of these black rodeo circuits, and they're pushing him or her to be at the highest level, which is the PRCA or the IPR or IPRCA, like, that's what it's about, you know, because it's a lot of money to do that. And you're competing with the best of the best. It's not just about, you know, black rodeo anymore. It's about you're the best cowgirl in the world. And truth be told, a lot of these athletes in those rodeos deserve that. They deserve that opportunity. It's just, you know, lack of resources.
I agree. And then with the newfound and, you know, love of Cowboys right now due to Beyonce and everything going on, how exciting is it for you to see there's an attention in it now? So how do we drive all this attention to the black rodeo, the, you know, black Cowboys, and, you know, make these stars and everything you're talking about? Like, what are some of the things you and your team, or just in general, are they doing anything to magnify or, you know, maximize this newfound interest there is?
So our team in general, we just want to continue to tell the story. You know, this is in our backyard. That's all we can do. We're gonna show up. We're gonna be at every rodeo. We're gonna be out there documenting. We're gonna be out there talking to the right people. We have 2 documentaries right now that we're pretty locked in on, and so that's all we can do. Until eventually the right people come and they get behind it, they support it, and they continue to help push the envelope. I mean, we're gonna be out here working.
Yep, I seen you got the audience award winning for Dead Center film.
Yep.
Congratulations on that. So it's an award-winning thing. What are some of the things fans and the supporters of your movement can do to help with the next step? Like, what's the next things you guys can do to get? Is it Netflix? Is it direct to consumer? Are you thinking major motion picture? Like, what kind of lane are you wanting to take this in?
So right now, we just came off of the film festival circuit. Myself and my team are in the process of getting our pitch deck out there to where we can start having those conversations of distribution, whether if it's streaming or if it's motion picture, as well as being lose you.
I'm here.
I think we lost each other for a second. Yeah,
I'm good now.
And so, in regards to that, the next opportunity that we aspire to do, of course, we want to, get our next projects funded, and because this is a self-funded film.
Oh wow!
Our sweat equity, and as well as putting our money, towards taking our film on the film festival circuit. Getting out there and filming. I mean, traveling and getting on the road. We've been, all over Oklahoma, documenting this, as well as taking our film. As many places as we can, from Atlanta to Miami to, the Dead Center Film Festival. And, we have a couple other ones that we're waiting to hear back from, but that's all funded by us.
Well, I salute you on that, because there is a lot of work and effort that goes into filming these things. I'm sure you got 2 or 3 cameramen with you, and you guys are there at the beginning of the show. The show goes on. When it's over, you guys are still filming. So it's almost like a full-time job for you. I salute you on that. Excuse me, you got a chance to do something pretty dope with Matt Kemp, retirement video I've seen. How did that opportunity present itself, and how did it make you feel as a film director to say he tapped you and said, I want you to do my retirement video? Like, that's a major honor.
Yeah, Matt Kemp. So a little historical background between that relationship. So Matt, we graduated from the same high school. He was a senior when I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
And so we both played baseball. Obviously, he went on to having a very exceptional career with the Dodgers. And so seeing what I've been doing over the years, and obviously the filmmaking that I've been doing, we both follow each other just from being from the same town. And so, his retirement was coming up. He reached out, and I was like, hey, let's make it happen.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I seen you did some speaking at Vin City for some students recently. What was it like when you got to stand in front of the kids and give them that game? And is that something you're thinking about getting more into and for the future and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. I love to help, young filmmakers out, whenever I can. And so being able to return back to, my former college at the University of Oklahoma, it's interesting. I've been invited back multiple times. I didn't finish my degree. Mom, I'm going to eventually at some point in time. But whenever you're a father of 3 now,
congratulations.
You obviously gotta have your priorities in check. And I'm not saying that a degree isn't important, but hey, I can finish it when I feel like it. But essentially, man, it's surreal, man. I really do appreciate the amount of love that folks are, giving, but behind the efforts that I have. Because to me, like, I don't like I'm if they want me to come out and do it, I'll do it,
Yeah.
But I don't really look at it so much as like hey man, like, we need you to come out here and speak and like, you're this important person. Like, I feel like it's just me having a conversation, with my kids if they have a question, or just a friend or something like that. So every opportunity to do that, like, absolutely. Everybody that has worked with me that I consider to be very successful, even the prominent athletes that I've had the opportunity to be around in my career field, man, like, they're always reaching back to help out people, man. And I want to carry that forward. I'm gonna shout out somebody like Ryan Clark, man. Like he's somebody that like on all levels from, just as a man, as a from a sports aspect to a business aspect, like, he's really showed me the ropes, and I appreciate him. And so from having that relationship, that's the same thing that I want to do back with, like, I want to give back to those around me as well, the same way he was able to give back to me as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Ryan Clark. Salute to him. I see you guys. You've been doing a lot of work with him in the Pivot and other podcasts and stuff. So, how did you meet him? Was it another person from when you were in college too, or how did you meet him? And then what got you guys start working the way you do and getting to create this dope podcast together?
So I actually DM'd Ryan back in 2019. Just, saw it as an opportunity where I can just come out there and film with some of his NFL guys. Invited me out to a retreat that he had out in Arizona. Had some cool creative ideas. I mean, we just been rocking ever since, man, since 2019 till now. With the podcast thing, I mean, the guy's a hard worker. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, he works on ESPN. You see him on the Pivot. You see him on other people's podcasts. I mean, he's everywhere. But, that's kind of where, the whole military thing, like we can, there's a parallel there. You just work and then you just keep working until, eventually it's going to pay off. And so, I mean, did we know that we were going to, like the Pivot and everything's going to, I want to say absolutely, but just the way that works, the way that team works, like, and it was inevitable. The cards are going to fall in our favor at some point in time.
Did you go into the podcast knowing the amount of work it goes into? It's not just filming a podcast, but then it's editing the podcast, then it's making the clips, then it's, were you guys aware of all that extra work it took? And, what's some of the tricks you've used as you've been doing this that have helped you guys go viral or, have successful episodes the way you have?
So my role on the Pivot, so the opening graphic that you see at the beginning of the show, that was my job. I was the editor of the opening graphic. So the book and the words and things like that play. So that was my primary role on the podcast. So going back to the creative side of things, and when you say like, hey, the short content, long content, like that's one of those projects where I can say like, there's, your branding, like, when you see words that pop up on the screen, like in that particular project, like you would see wealth, you would see success, you would see, prosperity. And those are things that are small details that, sure, like, okay, it's just an opening graphic, but those things are important to a brand. And so for me, like, it was a true honor to even get that opportunity because I believed in the project. And I still, love and, support everything that, the Pivot is doing in regards of like still growing and now partnering with Fanatics and things like that. I mean, I'm just thankful to even have that opportunity to even like be a part of that, man. So, man, I love it.
That's amazing. Now you mentioned your family as well. So how are you balancing having 3 kids, as you stated, and keeping up with the hustle and bustle that goes with, doing this documentary you're doing for the, Cowboys and doing, all this other stuff you do?
That's everybody calls it work-life balance. I haven't quite mastered that just yet. But I try to do my absolute best in regards of, whenever my kids need me, I try to be there for them as much as I can, if I can. I'm super tunnel vision. And I hope one day they'll understand that. I hope that they'll, get to, reap the benefits of all this tunnel vision I put in. But, I one thing I can say is I'm grateful, that I have these skills, I have these abilities. I know that they're watching everything that I do. They don't listen to me like most people do. They don't listen, but they're at least seeing my actions. And, one thing that I will be able to say, if they realize an hour later, they will know that my actions is a reflection of how much I love them.
That's amazing. Have they reached out? Are they wanting to come to the do the Cowboy stuff? Are they coming to watch any of your work yet, or you like to keep it separated?
No, like my son, my kids, they were at the last rodeo that they had out in Boley. They were in the stand. Now they wasn't with me to like help out with watch work. However, like whenever I go do speaking engagements at, OU, my son was there. And it's kind of funny because, my son's like, well, why don't you ever talk to us like that? And I'm like, well, I do. He just don't listen.
That's the fun part about being a father and having kids, because they see you at home doing the same things. They're like, that's cool. But when they see other people reacting to it, like, oh, okay, my dad is telling the truth, So, it's pretty dope. Do you have any advice for people who came from Navy and then you've created a great lane for yourself and what you're doing? Any advice you would give somebody who else is wanting to be in video or directing and stuff like that?
You said anyone that's came from the Navy that's
no, I'm saying you came from the Navy and went into being a videographer. So any advice you would give someone who wants to start becoming a videographer? Sorry.
The best advice that I could do, or not do, but the best advice I could give to anyone that's wanting to become a filmmaker, just know that this is bigger than your project. This is an expression. This is something that's helping your soul grow. Like you're using all these different, elements, like these different sensories to essentially, like I said, bring out what's inside of you outwards. I think the coolest part of my job is the fact that I can take something from the metaphysical and bring it into the physical with this medium called film. And it's like, to me, the most important thing, especially as a Black man, is how we use our imagination. And so the fact that I'm using my imagination for something positive, that's not going to, it's not going to help it's not going to hurt people. It's essentially helping, and it's helping the world. It's helping grow a community. To me, I think that's the most important thing to remember is, do what makes your soul grow, makes you feel good, man, because that's all we're here to do, man, as creatives.
Yeah, I agree. And then do you have anything we can circle on the calendar for you? Any releases or any upcoming announcements that we can make sure to tune in when they're ready?
June 20th, we're going to be June 20th, we will be showing June 20th, we'll be showing Riding Legacy at the Tulsa Juneteenth Festival at the Guthrie Greenwood, what's the name? Auditorium. I don't know.
Okay.
Edit that however you want to edit that. I don't know. So
now, congratulations on that. That's amazing and exciting, because I see there's still more to come. Like, this story is just getting started with you. So I'm seeing you've got a pretty good vision on what you're wanting to do, and keep telling this great story. Are you guys going to be venturing outside of the Oklahoma area, or do they only do Oklahoma locations?
For rodeo?
Yeah.
So some of the riders that ride here in Oklahoma, they ride on other circuits. For example, the Bill Pickett circuit, which travels all over the U.S. However, majority of the Oklahoma Black rodeo, like most of our filming is going to be done here in Oklahoma. Actually, majority of it is going to be here in Oklahoma.
Okay. I know you had mentioned that, need to create that LeBron. Have you or your team thought about picking one person and making them the star, or do you like to make it a holistic approach to the sport itself?
And I guess I'll tell you about it. Individual by the name of Denell Tipton.
Okay.
We're currently doing a documentary over him. Denell Tipton is a two-time world champion. He was the 1996 PRCA Rookie of the Year for bull riding.
Okay.
He's a legend out here in Oklahoma. There's only 6 Black Cowboy world champions, and he's one of them.
Okay, that's dope.
And so we have the opportunity to talk about a few other champions. We've gotten connected with the best of the best. And so just stay tuned. That's on the way.
Now, besides filming and hanging out with your family, what do you like to do for fun? Like, if you got some downtime to yourself, what are you doing to unwind or just to relax?
Man, that's a strong word. Relax. I don't know. Somebody's got to keep this house going. But what I enjoy, I think outside of this, I'm a big like music guy.
Okay.
Here lately, I've been big into vinyls. I really want to do a set one day, just a vinyl set, just throw it on YouTube or something. But that would be something that I mean, it's still in the creative world, but it doesn't really feel like work. You're just, just enjoying and just discovering. And I think that's the thing that I can say outside of this is where I'm in my zen.
Yeah. Now, any shout outs you want to give to people who've been with you from the beginning who are a part of the team now?
Absolutely. I want to shout out Jay Ridley. I want to shout out Nicole Jacqueline. I want to shout out, gosh, there's so many people, the entire Black Cowboy and Cowgirl community for accepting us, accepting our team, and even allowing us to even show up to these rodeos and document it, man. I appreciate you guys. My mom, my dad, I want to shout them out as well.
Yeah, guys, your mom and dad, yeah.
Obviously, I shout them out because they're big supporters. My mom, she was one of the big influencers behind me even continuing with this video thing because she was there whenever I did my first project. So
okay.
My sister Brittany, she's now jumped on my team as a producer. She's getting a lot of work done behind the scenes with everything. My wife, I'm sure she thinks I'm annoying. Because I can ignore, the family for a certain time periods that they would like to spend time with me, but she understands and she's a big supporter and she definitely helps me out with all of this in regards of understanding. So I appreciate it.
Well, they can see you're working hard at helping other people. You're giving your gift to uplift their story. So you're going to win in the end. And when your family starts working for you, that's a good sign of success is around the corner because, they believe in what you're doing. So, it sounds like they're on your team, man. Anything else you want to make sure we mention or we cover before we get out of here?
Are you going to cut this entire episode up, or is it going to be just a flea?
It would just be like this, unless you want me to edit something, then I can edit it for us.
Man, I don't know.
I'll do this when I'm done. I'll send you the link. You can watch it if you want to watch it back. And if there's something you say, hey, remove that or fix that, I can chop it up for us.
Sounds good.
That's good. All right, man. I appreciate your time tonight.
All right, big dog. Take care.
Salute.
Later.